Hello there, fellow commuters. Rodamon here. Thank you for tuning in to Timberborn 1.0. Episode 16, Adding Zip Lines. Okay, in this tank, obviously we want potable water, and then let's hire beavers there. And I am going to go so far as to remove these water pumps and water tanks, because they're not part of the infrastructure anymore. Additionally, these water tanks I don't really care about either. They're old news. So we're using the big old water filter. The other thing is, as long as the water level is like at 7 or whatever, when I'm pumping the surface here, I'm pumping from this entire aquifer, right? Like that's a lot. I mean, obviously it's a lot of surface area, but like the initial first, let's call it meter of water, I have a huge volume for. And it looks like we're going to focus on logistics. So the current priority right now is to focus on logistics. So let's talk about that. Zip lines are probably the way to go. Zipline stations is where a beaver can enter a zipline, and then the beams and pylons allow you to connect the two. For the ziplines to work, I am going to require a not insignificant amount of metal per line. And there's certain areas that are going to need zip lines more than others. So I think the first one I want to probably do is the bad tide water to medium tank setup. Just because relying on a lot of explosives and bad tide water. So let's do that. And I'm going to stick... I don't know where I want to build it exactly. Another one that makes sense is our like district center. Maybe I'll hook up the district center first. Yeah, maybe I'll go that route. I'll just put a station right here. And we still have to unlock some of the other parts to this, which require science. So this is going to, be a little bit of a science grind, but not too bad of one. Given that we have an observatory, it should be pretty quick, in fact. And the remaining infrastructure required for the other water pump is like nearly done. It's just a few more pieces of dirt, and I'm not eager to get the tank down just yet because it's not really our focus. But if I have the excess amount of metal and gears and planks for it, I'll plop it down. All right. One of the weird things about the zip line is like it doesn't really need elevation. Like that's not a thing. So it's less of a zip line and more like a chairlift for ski resorts, where like it's not gravity reliant or trolley or something. Yeah, it's more like a chairlift. So don't think of it necessarily as like zip line. It's a bit of a misnomer, in my opinion. So let's get the pylons, because I can work with the pylons. And when you place down the zipline tower, you can see that the station that I've queued up can connect to these pylons within a certain range. So if I wanted, for instance, and there's no point in building a pylon next, obviously the last one I want to build is probably another station. So I'm going to build this station first, connecting these two zones here, and then I'll probably build another station down there, over where the, I'm going to rework this, over where the bad tide comes from. I want to soil fill this. And we are halfway through our drought. So if I put the pylon, let's say, in the river, it doesn't really matter where it goes. Just anywhere that isn't inconvenient. Like, I could put it right here. That will allow people to travel really quickly east and west. Now, in my case, it actually has them avoid getting wet fur, but, like, whatever. And metal blocks is really the bottleneck here. So I'm going to prioritize... If I have haulers, I don't. If I had haulers, I'm going to pause my builder hut so I have haulers. I'm going to prioritize moving metal around for the haulers so that I get as much metal as I can for these projects. Cheers. All right, I am not going to be using a whole lot of dirt right now. So I'm also going to pause the dirt excavator, which will help with the injured, because our injured are cranked up to 10, excavating all that stuff. And that will put more people back in the work pool for hauling so that I can haul stuff around and build stuff. But yeah, this is done. We have a lot of water in storage. This is glorious. Glorious water supply. Turned out pretty well. I like the way it looks. Now I know I do not have the 4 units down, but not 6 units down pump. I'm really only planning on doing that if it's likely I need it, and we'll have it take precedent as like a temporary emergency project. And I'll aim to notice that I have need of that before it becomes urgent. But there's no need to remind me. I'm well aware. Is there an injury risk of the zip lines? Nope. So add a connection. Connect. And the connection limitations is about like angle and distance. So as long as they're interconnected. Someone just used it. They will zip between the two. There we go. And make it much easier to reach far-flung places. So it sort of, in a way, shrinks your district. So another path that I wanted to use is this one, where then we connect here to there. And the other thing you'll notice is the red line for the distance from center will decrease. So if I remove the connection here, this is less green because it's farther from district center. And if I add the connection here, it's more green because it's easier to get here. So the idea is to make the bad tide section easier to get to, maybe the forestry, basically interconnect everything so they spend a lot less time walking and a lot more time working. Unfortunately, there's no like, woohoo, I got airtime happiness thing. So it's not like they like taking the zip line, which is, I feel like, incorrect. Because, God, if I could take a zip line for work every day, I wouldn't mind a bad commute. Well, I guess if it's raining, but you know what I'm saying. And then other ones worth connecting, having a zip line up here would be helpful if and when I use these underground ruins, because surface metals that you just scavenge for are finite, and eventually I'm going to run out of surface metals and need to deep mine. And then ziplining over to this area as well, so they can fulfill their needs quicker, for like recreation and whatnot. to get home or whatever. Just everything, every area, every corner and nook of our little colony being interconnected, I think works to our long-term benefit. All right, let's get rid of these power wheels. They're just not needed anymore. And one of the reasons I got rid of the power wheels is I'm kind of interested in getting like a second smelter up, but I'm not really sure where I want to place it. I could put it here-ish if I connected it to power, which would be easy because there's a power axle like right above it. Because that would be next to the large piles related to metal. So maybe that's what I'll put it. That'll do. There. Can you shortcut the two pylons together? I could. If we had like another pylon from here to here to here, meaning that maybe this tree, instead of being a tree, will be pylon. Let's nuke this tree and see if putting a pylon there will connect these two stations. So if we're going from District Center to Bad Tide, we can take that shortcut. Design a web. This might be too far. I can't tell until the tree's removed. Because this is like, it's not even max length. It should be okay. The pylon itself can only take like two lines. It can't be connected to more than that, but the centers, the stations can. Can someone just delete this tree? What are they working on? What's high priority? Lower. Highest. I'm confused as to why I haven't had a builder come out here and just like nuke this tree by now. More builders. So now I have 8 builders. Oh my god, I have so many haulers. It's unnecessary. I may have expanded our population a bit too much. Ah, there we go. They're finally doing it. No, no, no! They walked home! No! I saw him removing the tree and he was like, alright. Workday is over. Bye-bye. Damn you! No, this isn't a lumberjack. This is a deconstruction task. Speaking of lumberjacks, maybe I put a lumberjack back now that I've like deleted a whole lot of levees and recouped a lot of the lumber. Also, let's get more lumber mills because I'm really low on planks. All right, there we go. So, is this close enough to both? Yes. That's a meaningful shortcut. And if I didn't want it interrupting the trees, one other way would be to like maybe put the pylon up on a 2 high or 1 high double platform over like a walkway. You wouldn't have to cut it into the trees like this necessarily, but like I have enough trees, I don't really care. And it seems like our scrap metal also might become a bottleneck if we have two smelters. So I'll get 2 more scav flags here, knowing that, yeah, I'm going to like scavenge out all this stuff. I don't care. Actually, one of the benefits is because of the high wall behind it, this is not a terrible spot to build like an irrigation pit to irrigate our rivers. We could place it off of this, and getting rid of this, all these ruins would free up the area because there's already a bit of a natural pit occurring here. So that could be like a future project for the tunnel irrigation I was referring to. So we're 5 metal away here. And then 5 metal and 3 planks away. So yeah, really soon we will have the initial zip lines. And I'm going to add a few more. So I want one... Maybe the only other one I want is, like, near the housing. And then I'm kind of happy with it. Speaking of which... let's blow up the cliff. I want more room, but I don't want to compete with the cliff, so... cliff be gone. Wait, the ziplines don't need power? How do they work? The beavers are very flatulent. So they're gas-powered. I mean, you see how high fiber their diet is? Okay, all materials are delivered for this one. You could also, like, change the colors. I'm not gonna, like, mess with the colors of the zip lines. Like, you can color them as well. It just default works fine for me. But if you wanted to do, like, the factory grows type, like, colored, you know, you could do that. I won't be. It's just a feature I figured was worth pointing out. Kaboom! Everybody up! Wake up call! Bang, bang, bang! Sweet! Alright, so the initial zips are in. And I see a lot of usage. So let's get one more point in. I haven't used any of the beams. So what this beam does is it, like, hangs off the side of a cliff. I won't even unlock it. It hangs off the side of a cliff like that. So it's a connection point that, you know, rather than a pylon that goes up. I mean, it's just a different, but I don't need to use my science that way, I don't think. Next project. Do you want more logistics, well-being, or irrigation? I wouldn't mind doing more logistics if that's what you want, but if you've had enough of the logistics, like, that's also cool. So, it's up to you. So let's go ahead and put the last station in. I'll just have it be right. Right here? Is that too far of a... oh, yeah, right. I don't have too many connections. Just... thinking of a way to solve this meaningfully. Because you could have one mega station. If I wanted... because this travel point is, like, less likely to be used, I think I'm going to obsolete it. For now. Because District Center to Bad Tide is, like, an unlikely path. And instead, rock something like this. Before we're done. So I want one for forestry. And maybe we do some sort of loop where these two will connect. Like that. So we have a loop. I like that better. And once this is done, we'll focus on irrigation. How's our power holding up? Or holding down? It's fine. Good. So this loop should allow for pretty quick traversal over to the major trafficked areas. What about water wheels in the main river? Oh, the main river just dried. I'm not doing water wheels because I don't care for water power or anything. Would be the TLDR. If, you know, I'm going to do a quick side project here. Just so that my main crops don't dry up. We have a lot of water sitting here that could be used for irrigation of this stuff. So let's go irrigate that stuff by just a quick kaboom. Seems pretty simple. All right, release the water. I'm sure some will spill, but like, you know, should help a little bit. No, it wasn't that much water. It wasn't as much water as I thought. So, not a great solution, but like, solution enough for now. Stops the clock for another day, let's say. So now we've connected the two waterways. And it was pretty dang cheap. And there's a few like obviously by tomorrow it's going to dry back up. But you guys want me to focus on irrigation, so that's going to be the next mega project. Once the rest of the zip lines are done, which should be pretty soon. Nice. So that one's all set. And if you take a look at the path network here, almost all of our colony, except for these scavenger flags, are like green. Right? There's very few parts of the colony that are like remarkably annoying to get to that we frequent often. And that will change significantly once this one's built. Okay, it's built. So let's take a quick look at the logistics. Green. So this is like 28 from district center. Before, I don't know what it was. This is 31 from district center, 24 from district center, 25 from district center. Furthest maybe is like 48 from district center. These are now 28 from, yeah. Everything is like less than 50 from district center, and before it was like some places were 75 or greater. So a massive difference. The other thing is this is going to lose access to the 4th tier of water soon, but I have 24 days of water tanked. So I don't care. That was mostly the reason why I didn't care about getting a pump at 4 units down. Because we have so much water tanked that by the time this water depletes, like, because it's more than 20 days of water, like, we're almost at the next pump being able to be used. Technically, it's like a 40-day, but whatever. As you can see, it's really unnecessary, in my opinion. Okay, current projects now. Work on farming irrigation. For long droughts. All right. So let's talk about that. One thing you'll notice is that water irrigation only works up to a certain factor. So what I mean by that is like the soil here is not irrigated, even though there's water adjacent, because of the vertical difference. However, the vertical difference here allows this to be grass. Once the water level drops one more unit, this will not be grass, it will be dirt again. So if we're going to do, there's two solutions here. Keeping in mind that evaporation does not change whether the water is in a tunnel or not. The two solutions for irrigation that I see is subterranean and terranean, above ground or below ground. If we did below ground, what I would likely do is to dig out a tunnel system underneath the farms and to fill the tunnel system with water. Probably, like, let's say 2 units deep. 2 units below the soil for 2 water units deep. And then feed that with, like, probably a throttling valve from a giant tank of water that we build. And if we do terranean, what I would likely do is fill most of this river up and channel it so that it's deeper, maybe like 4 units deep, with dynamite, and fill in the rest, because I don't need wide rivers. I need deep rivers. Deep rivers keep things irrigated. So I want a river that's like, let's say 3 deep or 4 deep. So deeper rivers that are more narrow, and the only wide part would be for like Lido bathing. So we would want some spots that are a little bit wider for Lidos, but those are the two concepts. One can be underground, one can be overground. So how to irrigate our farms: deep, narrow rivers or underground tunnels. Now, it's worth mentioning the underground tunnels is way more complex and expensive, but like, I don't care. If you want to vote for it, that's fine. The deep, narrow rivers are very straightforward and easier to do. But ultimately, I'm totally chill with either. And the vote will be up to you. I just wanted to make it very clear the scope of the projects, the technology required, and the what it might look like. I think in terms of where to store the water, here is like the highest level. I could start excavating here and store the water there. Yeah, maybe that's what I'll do. Because, I mean, you can't store water any higher than your highest water source without active pumping, which I could implement active pumping, right? There is mechanical pumping. But why move water if we don't have to with 700 horsepower? Like, no thanks. I'll just use gravity, you know? Water towers make more sense than active pumps. That's why water towers are a thing. Does look like the underground tunnels seem to be the popular option. So, talking about the underground tunnels, let's unlock it first with the 2K science. And the way they work is you just blast. Technically, I could actually feed it off of this here, but this is our drinking water, so I'm not going to feed it here. But you just blast a hole like that. And if you go down to the layer tool, you can queue up like a long tunnel. So if I wanted a tunnel from here to start for irrigation, I'm not building this, you would do it like that. And every single tile blows up, and then it doesn't cave in because of planks, but then you can remove the planks if you want to make it cheaper. If you don't understand what I'm saying, it will make sense once I start the actual tunnel project. So yeah, if I store the water, I would want to store it in this spot here. But Sir Thunder, don't worry when you're like, oh, it's in the bad water flow, because I would bomb out an alternative path around it. So I store water here, I can divert it down in any direction. So that would not... I get why you were warning me, but like it wouldn't be an issue. Because I know better than to do something stupid like that. Well, you would hope. The other thing is if I am doing a big project up here, it is not a terrible idea for me to build a zip line up there to make the big project up here like accessible. So I think I'm going to have a temporary zip. I don't even know about temporary. I shouldn't call it temporary. But a zip line up in this spot, somewhere where it's not going to interfere with the project. Like maybe here. But like I know putting something here won't like block the project. So let's update the priority now. Build a giant water tank for farming. Irrigation. The gravity batteries are low. They're really not that low. They're like half. And if I ever am lower on power, I can just like pause the observatory. It's not a big deal. Or put, you know, or in 0 days, I'll have water wheels filling them back up. All right, now the drought's over. I never got around to changing another floodgate over here. But yeah, let's fill up our main tank. Oh, why is it so stuck? My timers are messed up. If I wanted more power, like adding just a few more wind turbines is a very reasonable and easy solution. I would add it to the voted priority if I thought it mattered. Because it wasn't there, I don't think it matters. To be blunt. All right. Logs are short. Let's get another logger. And our main tank of water is just about filled up. So you can see like the active irrigation. It's weird because now that the water level's above here, it's irrigating outwards, as you can see, even though it's not like spilling over the top. So it's just like, is there water within like, you know, at this elevation level or whatever? That's more or less the way it calculates. All right, now water for the rest of us. And let's reset these floodgates. Oh, I already did that. Resetting them so that the west aquifer can fill back up. So this should be at 1. Cool. So yeah, this tank is a bit too full because this can't handle the full flow of the river. But that's why I started diverting it, splitting it west, south, and east so that this wasn't handling the full flow. Because yeah, I get that this is flooded. But it's flooding no more, so once it evaporates, it's fine. Alright, badwater. Right, let's get that too. Start filling up the badwater tank. I don't really need a lot more extract right now, so we'll just fill up the badwater tank, and then, we have 48 explosives, so it's not urgent. The other thing I'm probably going to want soon is more dirt, because as soon as this pylon is built, then we're going to have to start blasting and excavating. Okay. So accessibility is now like yellow-green for this area. Perfect. So maybe the first thing we need to do is the ability to divert bad tide water away from where I'm going to want to store the water. So blasting this area here with a wide enough river so that it can handle the full flow. Actually, too wide is probably fine. That way, bad tide water doesn't fill up where I want it clean. Who can be fired right now? I'm not really using any science, so I'm just going to pause the observatory. I don't immediately have any... Oh, no, that's not true. There was one more thing I wanted, which was the throttling valve, but I have the science for that, so there we go. So, yeah, we don't need science at the moment. So this only really needs to be 2 deep. And then that diverts bad tide water when bad tides happen away from the tank we're going to build. So the tank is going to be here. And it's going to significantly change the way this is even laid out. And I'll probably have to get rid of these structures entirely, I'd imagine. Also, while we're up here, let's just, like, get rid of all the trees, because they're just going to be in my way. I'm also going to do a complete vanity project, unrelated to everything else over here. At least I'm acknowledging it's complete vanity, which it's a floodgate, which retains 95% of the water at this level. And then a floodgate, which retains 95% of the water at this level. It's a beautification project. It literally does nothing for me. I fully appreciate that. I just want it. I don't need a reason for everything. It just makes stuff green. And green is good. I'm not going to prioritize it, but, like, you know, if I have the manpower to do that stuff, that's cool. Simply put. So in this spot, we'll do double floodgates. And that will finalize my ability to be able to control the water that I'm given, the fresh water, which is, this is the only source, to go every direction possible. East, west, south. This is the locks. I could center these for aesthetics, but, like, at that point, you know, I'm not... that's beyond the amount of flex that I want to commit to right now. Look at them zipping around. I hope productivity's been up as a result. Oh wow, they're actually working. No, they're not working on that. So once this is built, I am going to need to stop bad tide water from flowing back this way. What I figure I'm going to do, instead of building floodgates here, is there will just physically be a dirt wall, which will be the retaining storage area for this. So I can delete this as soon as the soil wall is placed there, which, you know, it'll get done. Cheers. All right, let's pause. We have enough dirt for now. And everyone's a builder. Congrats. So in terms of shape, let's say this is the middle. So we've got 5 here. Oh, drop. 6, 7, 8. Maybe 8 by 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One, two, three, four, five, 6, 7, 8. Oh no, that wouldn't be the middle. Hold on. Let's redo that. So if it's 8, 5, no, we'll do odd number. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That way, because this is 5 wide, it retains its like symmetry or whatever. Get rid of these trees. So all of this here will get blasted down to basically... Actually, I'm not necessarily going to want to go to bedrock, because I only want to go maybe 2 units lower than my farms, so I can irrigate the farms from underground. So bedrock isn't really the goal here. It's just low enough for the irrigation to work. Alright, so those floodgates are done. Now the rest of this is just like ripping up trees that are in the way. And then building a dirt wall here. And that dirt wall will keep the bad tide water from flowing back into my like farmland. Thank you for tuning in to Timberborn 1.0. Which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rodamont.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rodamont.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow beavers.